Hello again, Lucy and Conrad and Caleb. Are you ready to read more about the X-Men's adventure with the Stranger and the evil mutants? Well, I think so. Remember that when we left our X-Men, the Stranger had created an invisible vortex, and Magneto and the Toad joined him, and they actually went through the wall and escaped the X-Men. And the Angel was asking, where did they go? How did they do it? Well, we're about to find out. All right, seconds later, the invisible cone of energy whirls past Cyclops and Marvel Girl completely unnoticed. "Stay behind me, Jean," says Cyclops. "Whatever is awaiting us up there, let me face it first." So he's being very brave. This is the place, and he sees that the door has been knocked down, and so he runs into the room saying, "Angel, are you there? What happened?" Marvel Girl says, "Careful, Scott. Some terrible power must have been unleashed in there." Then suddenly, Cyclops sees the beast on the floor, and the Scarlet Witch is gesturing, and look, there's debris falling down. Hank thinks the Scarlet Witch is hexing the entire ceiling down on top of me. But the beast is too quick and clever. He uses his feet to twirl the debris around. But Cyclops is there now. He says, "Good work, partner, but you can't keep that up forever. Shut your eyes, X-Man." "It will be a pleasure to oblige," says Hank. And zap! Cyclops releases his glasses, and his eye beams go forth, says this will take care of that useless debris, and then we can get on with the business at hand. So, zzzt, the power beams shatter the debris. Beast says, "My compliments, Psych. How does it feel to be a human garbage disposal?" Well, that's one way to think about it, isn't it? "Jean, wait," says Cyclops. "What are you doing?" "Something I've wanted to do for a long time. I want to match my telekinetic power against the Scarlet Witch's hex power. So it's super heroine against super villain." And Marvel Girl says, "By keeping her busy ducking flying objects, she won't have time to focus a hex on any of us." "On you?" says Scarlet Witch. "Do you think you are of any interest to me? Do not flatter yourselves." And so the Scarlet Witch is dodging all of that debris. She pretends not to care. She says, "All I care about is the welfare of my brother. He must be unfrozen before it is too late. Pietro, speak to me. Pietro." Iceman comes up. "I didn't mean to harm him, just to stop him." Cyclops says, "Stay back. I'll help him." "Nobody speak. I must concentrate completely. Easy, easy. Only enough power to disintegrate the frost. If I miscalculate, even by a hair's breadth, it could be fatal to him." And so look, he uses his eye beams kind of like a scalpel, cutting away the frost and freeing Pietro from the ice. "Now what will we do with him?" asks Marvel Girl. "You need do nothing with us ever again," answers Scarlet Witch. "We have served Magneto for the last time." "Wanda is right," agrees Quicksilver. "We owed him a debt, but it has been repaid many times over. We shall serve him no longer." Scott says, "I always felt you didn't belong with his band of evil mutants." But before another word can be uttered, here comes the Angel. He says, "Cyclops, we've searched the entire place. Magneto and the others have vanished." The angel's conclusion is entirely correct, says Hank, disappointing though it may be. Quicksilver asks, where could they have gone with that new mutant? The new mutant. Professor X said he was the most powerful of all, says Cyclops. If Magneto has enlisted him on his side, then our mission is a total failure. Unless we can even the odds by having the two of you join the X-Men. No, says Quicksilver, we have had enough of conflict. But the cause we fight for is a just one, says Cyclops. Your words have the ring of truth to them, says Scarlet Witch, if only. But Quicksilver interrupts. No, my sister, it is I who give the orders now. We shall return to our home in Central Europe and forget the endless battle of mutant against mutant. But, says Scarlet Witch, someday we may return. Someday the fate of mankind may hinge upon our entering the battle once more. Well, let me give you a hint. In the future, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch join the Avengers. Do you remember during the story about Sue and Reed's wedding when Quicksilver was fighting alongside Captain America and Iron Man? Yes, and he also attacked the Human Top because the Quicksilver is going to be fighting on the good guy side, and so will his sister. But that's a story for the distant future. Right now, they're leaving. Meanwhile, the Stranger's cone of energy comes to a halt within a lonely, wooded area. We have journeyed far enough. Prepare for dissolvement, says the Stranger. Dissolvement? Asks Magneto. This is the moment when my energy cone dissolves into the nothingness from which it came. So you see the cone disappear. And now we can see the three powerful characters it was carrying. Tell me, asks Magneto, who are you? Exactly what power do you possess? You seem to be almost as mighty as I, almost the equal of Magneto. He says, I am merely a stranger. Toad says, make him tell you what his power is, Master. Make him tell. Silence, Toad, says Magneto. Now listen, he says to the Stranger. I am master of my band of mutants. When I ask, others answer, even you. Now, what is your mutant power? Arrogant fool, answers the Stranger. I am no mutant. As for power, it is greater by far than you can even imagine. And look, the Stranger is beginning to grow. And Magneto realizes it. You're growing, getting larger right before my eyes, but you can't be Giant Man. No, he's someone far greater. He continues to grow and he says, I told you I am a stranger, but I am a stranger different from any you have ever known. Far, far different. Toad, cries Magneto, come back. I am still master here. I am still Magneto. But the Toad is bounding away. He's afraid of the Stranger. Maybe even more afraid of the Stranger than he is afraid of Magneto. Your size cannot defeat me, threatens Magneto. I possess the power of magnetism. I am supreme. You yet shall serve me. Save us, Master, cries the Toad. Do not let the Stranger harm us. I grow weary of your words, says the Stranger. I shall place this thin film of anti-magnetic membrane over you to quiet you. As if he can quiet Magneto, right? I'll destroy you for this, says Magneto. Those who do not serve me must die. Well, that is an empty threat. Master, hollers Toad, what has he done to us? I cannot move. But of course he can move his lips. He can still cry and whine. At that moment, back at X-Men headquarters, look, they found the stone statue of Mastermind. Cyclops says, "We found Mastermind in the cellar, sir. It took all of us to carry him." "He's alive," realizes the professor. Look, he has a stethoscope listening deep into Mastermind's stone body to hear a heartbeat. But something has altered the very molecules of his body. It could only be the one we're seeking. "Do you think he's as dangerous as Magneto himself, sir?" "Dangerous as Magneto?" replies Professor X. "The one we seek has power enough to shake the universe. Magneto is but a child compared to the stranger. We must find him at once." Within minutes, a helicopter takes to the air, guided by the most brilliant mutant brain of all time, the brain of Professor Xavier. "Fly due west." I can mentally receive his emanations as though an arrow in my mind is pointing to him. Then, after a few minutes of speedy flight, we see that they have unloaded the helicopter and Professor X is speeding along in his wheelchair. But he says, "Go, my X-Men. You will find him just ahead, but guard yourselves at all times." And so they find them. Angel says, "Look, Magneto and the Toad wrapped up in some sort of cocoons." The Beast says, "Anyone strong enough to treat Magneto so cavalierly will give us the fight of our lives." "Iceman," says Cyclops, "do you see any signs of the stranger?" And of course, Iceman is sliding along, and he says, "Not yet, Cyc, but he must be around somewhere." And look, Magneto and the Toad are all wrapped up in that anti-magnetic cocoon. They're trapped by the stranger. "Stop," hollers Professor X. "Don't touch those cocoons, any of you. Back, back if you value your lives." And look, the angel is reaching out and almost touching it. But look at the sparks that fly. Angel says, "Some strange force shooting out." The professor was right. Another second, and the wisps of whatever this is would have enveloped me too. That would have been terrible. Then, at that second, the stranger again appears, and he says, "Those cocoons will protect them for the journey they're about to take." Professor says, "I can guess the journey you refer to. Its destination is no place on Earth, is it?" "Of course not. Have I not said I am a stranger?" Well, yeah, but he hadn't said exactly how strange he is. But look, oh my word, he's getting even stranger looking yet. He says, "I am a stranger from the stars. My people are greatly interested in mutations. I journey from planet to planet, taking specimens of mutants back to my world for study. I did not know whom to take from the Earth. But then the one who calls himself Magneto insisted that I ally myself with him, and so I choose to take him and the other whose loyalty is so touching." So look, both Magneto and the Toad are now flying through the air, and the stranger is glowing. They shoot off into the sky among the stars, and he says, "We shall never return." Well, never is a very long time in the Marvel Universe, and I suspect that we'll see all of these characters again, but maybe not anytime soon. The Beast says, "They're gone. It happened so suddenly, so unexpectedly. I never imagined it would end like this. Marvel Girl says, Magneto gone at long last. The professor says he wanted to find the stranger before we did, and he succeeded. He thought he had beaten us, but it turned out to be Magneto's final triumph. Did you catch that? Magneto's triumph was reaching the stranger before Professor X and the X-Men, but his little victory turned out to be his big defeat. Cyclops says, will this mean disbanding the X-Men, sir? Well, that's a silly idea. And Professor X says, of course not. There will still be many menaces to mankind for us to battle. So yeah, it's more than just Magneto. Here come the policemen. What's going on here? We heard an explosion. There was a blinding flash of light, and then, hey, it's the X-Men. Professor X says, Beast, slow them down. They mustn't see me. My identity must not be made public. I'll handle it with dispatch, sir. The policeman says, stop. We want to talk to you. Watch it, boys. He's up to something. And so, sure enough, the Beast does this backflip. And the policeman says, holy smoke. Did you see him spin around? He almost has a hypnotic effect. I'm getting sleepy. Well, Beast, says the other policeman, slow down. We weren't aiming to hurt you. I should hope not, replies the Beast. I'm far too lovable to become a statistic. Easy, Professor, says the Angel as he flies with the professor in his arms. Cyclops is already in the helicopter and helping the professor in. He says, thank you, boys. Now summon the Beast. Iceman hollers, okay, you animated jumping bean. The prof says, all aboard. And Marvel Girl is telekinetically transporting the wheelchair into the helicopter. She says, watch it, Bobby. Duck your head. Take her up, Angel. Hank's hanging on outside. Head back for the school. The Beast jumps up and he grabs the tail of the helicopter with his feet. What sheer stark drama, he says. One ingrown toenail and I'd be a dead man. Not long afterwards, the helicopter comes home. And the Beast says, the old homestead. It'll be good to sit back and relax with a differential calculus problem for a few hours. So the Beast wants to relax with math. Ugh, not my idea of relaxing. But of course, I don't expect there's much time for relaxing around the X-Men headquarters. Before any serious relaxing is attempted, the X-Men adopt their usual precautionary security measures. And the Beast hops around, bouncing against the walls. He says, my wall soundings are complete, sir. No hidden mics, wires, or any such devices. The professor says, my intuitive brain senses no unexpected danger. All that remains is Angel's visual report. And so the Angel flies around the school, and he says, all clear as far as I can see, sir. Very well then, answers the professor. Let us proceed. Moments later, in the study of Professor Xavier, he says, before dismissing you, Scott, I thought we should remove some names from our Cerebro machine. I see, Professor, answers Scott. You feel that certain menaces to mankind now can be considered disposed of? Exactly. And so he removes the names of Magneto, Mastermind, and the Toad. He says, it's been a long, hard road, Cyclops, for all of you, but you have acquitted yourselves with honor. And look, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, even though they're still powerful and they're still at large, I don't think they'll be troubling the X-Men anytime soon. But there are two other names there, Blob and Eunice. They're other powerful mutants that are still going to cause trouble to the X-Men, and before too long. But suddenly, before another word can be uttered, beep, 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 Cerebro sounds the alarm. Professor, says Cyclops, what's happening? Professor realizes Cerebro has detected a new menace. Beep, beep, beep. I've never seen a mere electronic device register such an extreme condition of panic. Every circuit is strained to the breaking point. Whatever it is that's out there threatening us, it is the most deadly, most powerful danger we have ever faced, and it's almost upon us. And Professor X and Cyclops look out the window, searching, trying to see what danger is approaching them. Thus, one strange saga comes to an end as another, a still stranger one, pardon the pun, begins. This tale has marked a turning point in the lives and destinies of the X-Men because they've removed the threats, the immediate threats of the evil mutants. But beginning next issue, fate has many new and unexpected pitfalls which await them. So, wow, I can hardly wait until the next issue of the X-Men, and I know what's coming. And truly, it's going to be a very powerful opponent that will come to attack Professor X and his X-Men. And so, we'll come to that story soon enough. But until then, I hope you enjoyed our return to the X-Men and the story of The Stranger. And so, we'll have more X-Men adventures to read and enjoy in the future. Love y'all. Bye-bye for now.